Good afternoon. It's bench day. Oh yeah. Gonna get some bench press. And then we're gonna work on some chest and we're gonna work on some triceps. It's gonna be good. So here's what I was thinking about, what I wanted to talk about today. And this is definitely one of those things where we're talking about it primarily for my benefit, because one thing that I know is true and that I need to begin behaving like is true is that no one knows everything. I mean, I definitely don't know everything, but sometimes there are things that you think you know, and when you come across opposition, you respond so defensively to that, and that really should be a clue, both to you when you do it to somebody else or when someone else does it to you, that it's not reason that's the support for that belief in some other thing, ideology, identity, something else is making you hold on to that. And I do this all the time, and I see other people do it. And here's the gross thing about that is that when other people, so because I'm so aware of that, because I know that it's a real thing, I judge other people so harshly when they do that, and then I'm just as guilty of it on my own. And that's why, I mean, it's good, I suppose, that I'm aware of it and that I'm trying to be better, but that's still no excuse. No one knows everything about anything, and if anyone disagrees with you, the only thing that is an opportunity to learn something. And that's true of well, so specifically fitness and nutrition, particularly of those things, because no one knows anything about those things, but it comes to anything. So there's this kid who was in this group with me, and this kid had a lot of strength that I didn't have, and honestly socially reminded me a lot of me when I was younger, and that rubbed me the wrong way. And sometimes personalities just don't mesh up, and right away from the very beginning, I was put off by this dude. And I think maybe he was put off by me too. I'm not 100% sure, but I definitely did eventually put him off, because for someone who thinks about thinking as much as I do have a lot of incendiary and controversial opinions. And this young man and I were having a discussion about, if you want to know, specifically we were talking about fiber. And we were looking at the research when it comes to fiber, and I was thinking about, okay, let's put conventional wisdom aside, and let's look at, what does the actual data say? What has been my personal experience? Do I know and trust any people who have had experiences one way or the other here? And my conclusion is that it's not a settled fact that you have to have fiber every day. Listen, burn me at the stake. That's just not. We can talk about that on a different day if you want to get into details of that. But basically, I was just saying, hey, I'm not convinced by the information that's out there, and I think that there's better questions should be asked and better answers should be given. And I don't think that there's any really good, strong data on the other side either, saying that you just have to have fiber and it's really good for you. And what's weird about that, the fact that there's no really good data out there about that, is that everyone recommends it. Every doctor recommends it, every hospital recommends it, every registered dietitian recommends it. And if you follow, if someone says it and they cite something and you follow the citation, it's just someone else saying it. There's no data at the end that you eventually get to. It's just a thing, right? I guess we're on the tangent, so I guess we'll talk about it. But basically, the only things that have, as far to my knowledge, by the way, I don't know everything. It's the point here. I'm just seeking it out. The best of my knowledge, the only thing that we've been able to prove definitively that fiber does is that it increases stool bulk, and it increases transit time. So what that means is it makes your poop more voluminous, and it decreases the amount of time it takes for a bowl of food to get from your mouth to your butthole. And you may like think intuitively, oh, that would solve constipation if you defined constipation as like not pooping fast enough after you eat. And I'm not sure that's the best definition for constipation. Constipation probably should best be defined as, pain associated with pooping, gas, bloating, the feeling like you need to poop and being unable to poop. Those are better definitions, I think, for constipation. Because if you're not eating things that produce waste products and then you don't poop, that's not constipation. That's just not needing to poop. Like if you fast for a long time and you don't poop, you're not constipated. You just don't have anything to poop, But anyway, the only really good study I've seen out there that compared fiber intake with constipation found that people who reported experiencing idiopathic constipation, and idiopathic constipation is not like a disease or a syndrome. It just means that they have constipation and they don't know why. So idiopathic, literally the definition of it is, unknown origin. So people who show up and they have idiopathic constipation, what we find is if you increase fiber, the constipation gets worse, and if you decrease fiber, it gets better. And the people who had the least amount of constipation were the people who had the least amount of fiber. 0 fiber equals 0 constipation. And then you wonder, like, why, if that's the only study that's ever been done, why does anyone use fiber to not be constipated? Anyway, so I'm just saying it's worth looking into, it's worth experimenting with. That's all I'm saying. But it evidently shook up this young man's world. And he was, he accused me of being unable to read. He accused me of, being irresponsible with the health information that I give clients, which, by the way, I don't recommend anything to anyone. I never play the role of a doctor. Like, I'll never, ever be like, hey, listen to me over your doctor. It's never going to happen. I take my role as a coach very seriously, and I'm never going to cross that line. But the point was, it really seemed like this kid was like, he disliked my opinion so much that it turned into like attacks. And this isn't just him. Like, he's not a bad kid. He's a great kid. In fact, he reminds me of me when I was young. And I didn't like myself much when I was young. But I try to be better every day. And probably when he's my age, he'll be, a better, smarter person than I am now, probably. He's got great people around him. But the point is that if you ever come across someone who disagrees with you, and you feel yourself getting defensive, probably what that means is that they've got something to teach you. And it happens to me all the time. It all happens to me all the time. And it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work to recognize that you're having an emotional defensive response and try to say, I'm probably wrong about something. I'm probably missing something I'm supposed to have right now. Anyway, we'll figure it out one day, right? Okay, so as far as training goes today, obviously bench press is the powerlifting work. We're gonna do 4-week blocks of stuff that I do. The third week is the heavy week, and I do a set to failure. And the set to failure is essentially the barometer for how successful the whole block has been. And this whole block, my compound lifts, I've been doing sets of 10. And this week, I just have one set to do, and it's the heaviest set of 10 that I'm gonna do. But when I get to 10, I'm supposed to just keep going until I can't do anymore. And the way that works is it for every, because of what the weight is calculated, it's supposed to be calculated right at the absolute limit of what I should be able to do for 10 reps. And because of that, for every rep I get in addition to 10, I can add 1% to my theoretical max lift. So that way over time, the weight that I can pick up kind of goes up over time. So that's the way this whole program is working for me. So today, Now, I won't go over 10, by the way. Like if I get to 10 and then I do 20, which means a 10% increase, I'll just stop at 20 because the math gets weird past 10, and you stop being able to make really good predictions at that point. But anyway, so that's kind of how it goes. And then after that, of course, I'll try to hit my minimum effective volume target. And for bench press, it's pretty high. And I'll do incline dumbbell bench press, and I'll have 8 sets of that to hit my MEV for 9 for the bench press. And then it's time to get a pump. You can get a pump for the chest, and then I'm gonna go get a pump for the triceps. And that's really been the hardest part because I've been sick the last couple weeks. I found that it has not affected my ability to move heavy weight at all. It hasn't really affected my ability to, like, once the bar is moving, once the weight is moving, I feel no difference from when I was perfectly healthy. But in that period of time between the set where I'm like, especially for the pump, right? So like to try to get a pump, you're like making decisions between every set. Should the weight will go up? Should the weight go down? How many reps am I aiming for? Am I going to make this a drop set or a superset or a monster set or whatever? You're making all these decisions kind of on the fly based on how you feel and based on how your pump is doing. And being sick has made that worse. It's hard to be ambitious. Like, my estimation of what I can do is much worse when I'm sick. Because I start moving and I can do more than I think I can do. And I end up being really disappointed with how easy it is and how poor my pump is, basically, when it comes down to it. But it's also like the worst thing you can do. I guess it's not the worst thing you can do, but a bad thing would be to like overestimate and be like, I need to do this. I don't know. I have a lot of experimenting to do, but that's just an observation that I've made so far. So happy Halloween. Today's Halloween. I'm training a little bit earlier today than I would be training normally because, I'd normally be at work. And we're going to take the kids trick-or-treating after this, which I'm really excited about. They've switched costumes like 4 or 5 times. We bought them Jack from Nightmare Before Christmas. And then we returned that and got them fairy wings. And they were fairies. They were fairies to one of the trick-or-treat things. And then Emma wanted to be a zombie and Cassie wanted to be a scarecrow. And we just used makeup and home stuff for that because my wife's real crafty. Because I really don't want to pay for more than one Halloween costume a year per child. So we did that. And then for a while, we were worried that tonight that they wanted to be shapes. I think Emma wanted to be like a triangle, and she wanted Cassie to be a heart, and she wanted my wife to be a star. And who knows, for me, maybe like a rhombus or something. But thankfully, I think they're going to go with, what they were yesterday, that'll be good. I don't think there'd be anything left to buy anyway. Yeah. What else is going on? Oh yeah, so we're gonna finish out this week. This is my heavy week, and I'll know by the end of this week what my weights are going to be for the next month, for my next block of training. But before that, next week, the 4th week of every 4-week block is going to be a deload. And one thing that I've learned doing a lot of like bodybuilding and hypertrophy work is that, you don't need a deload as often as you think you do. Like sometimes, so I didn't do deloads for years, but I kept hitting plateaus. And then I started doing like a mandatory deload every 4th week, particularly when I was doing a lot of powerlifting volume. And it seemed to help for a while. But I'm wondering, there's a lot of people who are a lot bigger and a lot stronger than me who never deload when they're doing their hypertrophy work. And I'm wondering, I still haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do, because I definitely need to deload for my powerlifting work. Like I'm going to give it 100% unless I get to 20 on the compound lifts this week. And I really need to take it easy on the compound lifts next week before I just do it again in the 8 rep range the month after that at a heavier weight, right? So I need to chill out on that, but I haven't figured out to what degree I need to chill out on the hypertrophy work, if at all. I need to look around at that. So I just don't know, man. So I think like a lot of the stuff that I've been looking into, like, and I haven't really read any like books, like here's how to bodybuild, or I haven't read anything like that. But what I've been looking at is I've been trying to, I mentioned this a little bit yesterday, I'm trying to like absorb through diffusion, like wisdom from people who have accomplished a lot. I don't really remember Arnold ever talking about doing a deload or light days or anything like that, right? Like he just incrementally pushed his volume and his intensity up over time. Like eventually he just added like a second day of workout in the day, like a second training session in the day. And his body just adapted to the workload over time. Now, and some of that could be steroids, which I'd love to talk about at some point. I have a lot of strong opinions about that. Some of it could be his freak genetics, which is also a really interesting thing to talk about. Maybe there's something special about Austrians. I don't know. But yeah, I haven't really figured that out yet. But we also, not this upcoming, not this the rest of this week, but once we finish this week out, and I finish with my heavy weights, and we're done with this week because I go back to work tomorrow. Once we're finished with that, we're gonna drive back to Texas. That's where we're from. I grew up there. I met my wife in Austin, and we lived there until I was 33 before we moved out here to Tennessee. So we're gonna go back. My best friend still lives there. My wife's parents and sister and friends live there. I've got a couple clients that live there that I can check in with in person, which would be really nice. That's going to be a lot of fun. And it just worked out so well that it that it was going to be a deload week. So I wouldn't have to worry about doing these super long, intense training sessions while I'm out and about. But I may, oh man, I don't know. I need to figure that out about if I should continue to push it for the hypertrophy work or not. We'll see. Well, hey, I'm pulling into the gym now. I'm taking the last turn before I get into the parking lot. So, as always, thank you so much. I'm so grateful now for the abundance that comes to me easily and effortlessly on a continual and daily basis. And thank you so much. I'm grateful for you. Love you guys. All of you who are watching now, all of you who may be watching in the future. You guys are the best. Oh, I need to do better. I need to do better at this. Call to action. I need to make sure I'm reminding everyone, the app is up. The app is running. We just got finished integrating Stripe, so we're ready to start moving the packages. We're going to start with the custom branding soon. That's all on the way. I've got several of the templates for the programs finished and sorted out. So we are taking clients for the app. I said 5 originally. We're going to end up doing more than 5 because we are going to be offering different types of services to different types of people. So I said I wanted 5. I think we've gotten 3 or 4 already, but I'm not going to just stop at 1 or 2 more people. I need more people in before I can raise the prices. So if you want to get strong, I'm looking for you. Who do you know that I can help get stronger, leaner, or healthier? Who do you know that can help me perfect my services? So please let me know. Okay, I'm going in. Love you guys. Thank you.